Order, is that what I do?
Yeah.
5:31, CCF committee meeting of Williston. Call us to order. Our first agenda item usually is public comment or
Yeah.
approving the minutes. Public comment. Any public on the line for us to have comment?
There's no public online.
Okay, so we will move on to approval of the minutes. Oh, good, now I have the agenda.
Okay, excellent.
January 11th minutes. So we can scroll through them.
I read through them yesterday or the day before. They're extremely extensive because we had all that public comment, but
Right.
I didn't see anything to change.
So are you making a motion?
Well,
No.
yeah, I guess we're down at the bottom.
Yeah.
So I'd make a motion to adopt the minutes as presented.
Thank you, Reed. Any second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Terry. All in favor?
I
Aye.
Is it just the three of us and Danielle?
She did say she'd come, but she
Oh.
might have to.
And
It's got like.
no Mike still?
No. Danielle said she would tune in at some point. She's got to pick her son up from school.
Okay, no, I was back on thinking about Mike. I kind of miss having a select board representative here.
Oh, yeah, where's Mike?
Was he at, maybe, anyway, so we can take that up with Mike. Okay, we have approved the minutes. Now we have the stewardship fund committee. We're 6 minutes ahead of schedule. The stewardship fund committee project ideas.
Great. So if you just let me zoom in. Well, firstly share my screen.
Yeah.
So this was the document that Ethan prepared, which shows the stumpage totals from the forestry project. I guess the key one is the one in the bottom right-hand corner, which is the total income to the town from the project. So just shy of $19,000 that we got. So that's been deposited in the stewardship fund. So just a little bit of accounting. The stewardship fund originally had $20,000 in it. We took 3,000 out last year for the invasive treatment following the forestry project, which is going to be spent probably this coming spring and fall in a couple of batches. I know Ethan wants to do another invasive management plan. So if we assume that gets approved by you guys in the select board, we now have $32,800 in the stewardship fund.
So we had 20, we took 3 out, we added 18. Is that are those numbers?
Yeah, 20 out. Sorry, 20. We had 20.
We took out
minus 3,000.
17.
Plus 18,000.
Yeah.
Potentially minus 3,000 for Ethan's
Oh,
pocket.
minus another 3,000.
Which leaves us with almost $33,000 in the
good.
Stewardship fund.
Good.
So stewardship fund is available to be spent on projects that help like manage or repair infrastructure and things like that. In the forest, they've got to like further the goals of the forest, which everyone already knows, so I won't bore you with. But
is this written down?
Yeah, we've got a
The
policy.
stewardship fund?
Yeah.
Where would we find that policy online or?
So it's linked.
Oh, you have
stewardship fund in the agenda.
Oh, that's a good
But
reference.
we do have an unintuitive, just for future reference, if you're ever looking for a select board policy ordinance, we do have a big long list of them here.
Okay. Google finds everything. Don't worry.
Yeah, I don't know if
It's up
Google's
there, right?
a match for our website.
Oh, no.
So we did have the stewardship fund policy. It's 4 pages.
Oh, nice.
Sets out a little bit of the background, and then it also sort of sets out the methodology by which you can get stuff approved. So it's got to be for to further the goals of the forest. So basically in line with the management plan. So the usual stuff: conservation, recreation, nature, forestry, education, historic resources, geology, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read
Um,
through it a few days ago when you sent us, after you had sent us the link, and it's pretty extensive and pretty easy to understand what you can apply for and what its purpose should be and how to apply for it. So
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got it. There's quite a lot of money in it at the moment. We do have the stewardship fund sort of has a floor of $10,000, so we're not supposed to go below that
Mm-hmm.
without some sort of plan. And that's just to, safeguard, if something happened catastrophic, so we can fund repairs. But I know we talked previously about sort of smaller projects, smaller things that members of the committee think might be good to do and further the goals of the plan. So I thought it might be good just to have a bit of a brainstorm and see what people are interested in funding. One thing that has transpired is that because it has to go to select board, it can be a little onerous to get these through.
Mm-hmm.
So if we do want to do a series of little projects, it'd be great if we could batch them up together, rather than sort of going piecemeal to the select board, I think.
And could we batch them up chronologically? Like, hey, we'd like approval to do this in January for 1,000 and this in March for
Yeah, I think
another
that
1,000.
sounds sensible. Yeah.
One question is from the policy here. It is the intention that the fund will grow over time through additional outside funding sources? I mean, I'm clear that we had the timber harvest, it mentions that.
Yeah.
But it also says private donations, leases, or other activities in Catamount Community Forest. Just trying to, how do we think about this money as a group? We have 33,000. It's kind of like, whoa, let's go spend 23,000 right now. Like we got it, might as well. But I don't have a good sense for then how does it get replenished? Is that 23,000 intended? What's a good burn rate for that? Because once it's gone, and we're at 10. And what's the line of sight to get more money in there besides logging some more?
Yeah.
Reed likes bake sales.
yeah.
Bake sales? I don't know.
Yeah.
Adding $15 in.
I mean, donations would be something. They're not going to be huge, but it's not really something that we proactively go out and do as a town. Just generally, we don't really do it for conservation. We don't do it here either. So that'd be a potential source of sort of smaller dollars. Obviously there would be future logging forest management projects, which would probably replenish it as well. Other than that,
So could I ask a question then? The Catamount Outdoor Family Center has this leasing arrangement. Do they pay physical dollars?
$1.
we get $1 a year from them.
Ah, I see. I see.
Right,
So we could
yeah.
put the $1 a year in there. Okay. I didn't know I didn't ever see a budget on that because I know they have, large expenses to run their programs, and I didn't know what the relationship was from a financial perspective because I had never seen it, and now I know. So that is not a source. So
I think Harold pays $1 a year too to hay the fields over there.
I see. So he gets the benefit of the hay and for $1. Okay.
$1.
And we don't have to pay somebody to have it done. Okay. So it looks like we don't have any common sourcing on an annual basis or Yeah,
And there's no budget item that sort of trickles in here either over time.
No, we have our capital projects budget, which is allocated annually by the select board for like capital projects we want to do. And then we have our operational budget, which is for the year-to-year stuff.
And the operational budget is use it or lose it. We can't like
Yeah, you can't roll that
redirect
over.
it to
Yeah.
the, we can't redirect it to the stewardship fund.
No.
It's been harder and harder to get any increase on that each year. We asked for, I think, 5,000 last year, and they gave us 2, I think.
Hmm.
Is that right, Simon? I can't remember.
I think they've given us 3,000.
3,000, I'm sorry, yes. So they have increased it from 2,000 when we first began to 3,000, yeah.
right. But to your point, Hans, we have to be frugal because you can't just
Yeah.
spend 23,000 because you got a great project. So all we need is a inheritance benefactor, somebody who like Vermont Public does. Think about leaving your family trust to the Catamount Outdoor Family Center. So
Right.
Just out of interest sake, because I know the financials of the Outdoor Family Center, they don't make money. So
Right, it's a
there's anything-
nonprofit, right? So
Yeah,
they're not supposed to
And-
make too much money.
and there's a cash buffer there, but this year with the winter being so bad, I think we're gonna be like losing money this year,
right,
so.
right.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't saying tapping into them. I just mean looking at other
No,
sources.
no, I appreciate that.
So-
I'd be curious, interested to know, and maybe if Ethan's gonna be here tonight, ask him how other towns, manage funding their town forest, because I know Heinsberg has a really nice little nest egg, and I think Richmond does as well. So I wonder what other towns, rely on.
I know. That's a good point. We should ask him. Okay, so now our main agenda item was to brainstorm items.
Yeah, I mean, it is an interesting question. Like, I was sort of anticipating this being like a collection of small projects that would cumulatively add up to like $2,000 or $3,000. That was just what I thought. I haven't discussed it with anyone.
Yeah,
To maintain that buffer. If someone comes up with 2 years' time, someone comes up with an amazing idea
yeah,
for something to do. But there's various things have been expressed that over the course of the last couple of years, just about things we could do. So I was just interested to see if anyone had any ideas.
Do you have that list in front of you, Simon, of things that we've been suggesting over
I
there?
don't know. I didn't keep a list. This is anecdotally people have suggested things.
So one idea I had was, and this would be, and I talked to Simon about it. We are busy as volunteers, and Ethan working on getting rid of the invasives. So we're decreasing those, and I know Ethan's thought is just let Mother Nature take its course for the shrubs and trees to grow back. And I just thought it would be nice to give Mother Nature a little boost and possibly purchase some bare root trees, native shrubs from a local source, like red osier dogwoods and serviceberries and winterberries and things like that are good for wildlife, and kind of give it a little boost and actually make it like almost a part of an educational project where we could plant those shrubs near the trails so people could see them, and we could say this is a winterberry or this is a serviceberry. So that was just one thought I had, is to just do, they're very, the Intervale has a local source, and the Winooski Valley something or other has a
they
good source.
actually are having their tree sale right now, the Winooski Valley one that manages the edges of the Winooski River beds and things like that.
Yeah.
So they sell small trees in batches.
Mhm.
I had an email, but I'm not sure if I kept it, but I know they they were selling right or taking orders for their spring sale right now.
Right. And so I thought, this might be a 2025 project, and spring is the best time to plant. Usually, it's moister ground, more rain as opposed, you could do it in the fall, but it's hard to say. But I definitely would want to run this by Ethan and get his perspective on how he feels about that in the forest. But we are making great strides on getting rid of a lot of invasives, and there are a lot of viable seed from a lot of those buckthorns and honeysuckle that are on the ground, that once they get opened up, they will shoot up. So they will take advantage. And I thought, well, if we could just give it a little jump start and plant a 2 or 3 year old plant, that would grow before the others, the invasives start growing back. So, but that would have to be in that plan. So, and then just one other idea I had was there's more ash trees that possibly could be treated at Catamount. I think ArborJet might fund the ash grove this year. I'm not 100% positive, but I think that is going to be covered by a company called ArborJet. But there are where Ethan did the forest management area, there's a few pretty nice ash out there.
So that's a service donation from that company?
It is, and it's called Ionic, American's Ionic Tree. And they're asking for, nominations of trees in each state. And they said individual trees and like groves. So we kind of fit the bill.
And that would be, we wouldn't have to use the stewardship fund for that. That's something you just apply for.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. And it is slated to be paid from the operation budget for this coming year. So, but those were my 2 ideas.
Yeah. Thank you for those. Those are good. So that one, wildlife habitat and natural resource goals, I think those fit into that category. We also, just to help brainstorming, we had, well, maybe they fit into the forest management goal. To maintain and encourage diversity, this probably, so we're spending for Ethan, we're spending 3,000 on the 4th goal, which is forest management goal for invasives. Terry's items could fall under recreation and educational, like if the shrubs that we're planting are native. That's kind of a nice project. It fits a few goals, the forest management and the recreation. What about wildlife? Is there, I don't know, I mean, we have bird boxes and bird things going on. Is there other wildlife projects that we would do? Protect, enhance water quality, habitats for native species. Well, we've sort of done that through forestry a little bit, forest management.
Yeah, I mean, someone's mentioned bat boxes at a previous meeting, but I don't know if we just buy some lumber and that could be a project for someone to make some. Or we buy them. I don't know. I mean, I guess selling that, how much a bat box costs.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're looking for small ideas. We can put bat box on the list. I feel like Danielle said that.
Yeah, I'm looking into the scouts. Actually, it was my idea, and I
was
was
it?
working with the scouts on doing it as an eagle project, but Mo, who's been doing the invasive work with the scouts, he thought probably not an eagle project, but just a project for the scouts in general, and they would make the boxes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Gosh, Terry, you keep coming up with ideas that like we don't even need any money for.
That's
Well,
right.
yeah, that's true. I mean, the bat boxes might require, lumber, but they would do the actual building of them, and yeah.
Mhm.
Where would the building go? The barn? I mean, not that we're like wanting to bring up the whole topic of the barn, but does that go into stewardship fund? Was there, or is that capital projects?
That's a capital project.
Okay,
And there already is how much money in the capital?
Uh,
10,000?
I can't remember. I think it's, no, I think it's more than that. I think it's about 18,000.
Yeah.
Or at least it will be come, July 1st.
Yeah.
Which is when we get all our new money.
And that we don't lose, right? That rolls
No,
over
that
from
just
year to
builds
year.
up.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well then what about recreational, educational and cultural goals? Promote, and encourage traditional forest use for outdoor recreation. Construct, maintain recreational trails. I think we sort of looked to the outdoor center to do most of that, but the stewardship fund is intended to go in that direction too for recreation.
Can we make applications to support the programs that we do and the work that we're doing, you know, for trails and stuff? I mean, they the trail work is designed to improve water quality and reduce impacts on habitats. So you know, I feel like these things are you know, coexisting and working together.
Yeah, the outdoor family centre can be a proponent. They're actually specifically called out in the policy as someone who can apply. And recreational trails are part of the goal. And as you say, like, water quality is a big part of the goal.
Yeah.
So
So
what? I'm sorry. What's the process that we would go through? Is there an official form, or is this a informal?
We don't really have an official form. You just draft a short note explaining how much you're asking for, how it complies with the goals of the forest management plan, and then the committee can discuss it and decide whether to vote it on to the select board.
We could use the one dealing with invasives tonight as a model for that you've drawn up. So we can look at that. That's later
Yeah,
on.
so John, we, as a committee, we decide what we wanna spend, we have 23,000 available, but we don't see more money coming anytime soon until the next logging project. So we wanna be careful and like, we're thinking about spending on smaller items for now, but it's a process to go to the select board. Well, first the committee agrees, and then a note goes to the select board for them to approve it. And then you can spend it, some of that 23,000.
And did that all come from the logging project?
18,
So we got not just shy of $19,000 from the logging project, and there was $20,000 in there already, which I think the land trust like set it aside as part of the purchase. So that's like the startup money we got.
and so far we're spending total of $6,000 on invasives out of that fund.
Yeah.
Is that the only money we've taken out of the stewardship fund?
Yeah.
6,000 for invasives. And
So
then
just
there's,
3,000 so far, and we're going to approve another 3,000,
Right.
hopefully. So yeah.
yeah, so I was counting my chickens before they're
Yeah.
hatched.
Right. We
Trust
hope
me,
it's gonna get. Yeah, yeah, well, I don't know, there's projects that I guess, you know, we could do, would speakers, like a speakers series, I know the outdoor center's been doing some of those, but would that kind of fall under educational kind of thing, having speakers come talk about the geology of Catamount, or maybe the history of Catamount, from Native Americans to farming and things like that? Would that qualify? Or is that a far stretch, Simon?
Sorry, I was thinking about trails. I do apologize.
Yeah, no problem.
Sorry, can you just repeat the question?
Yeah, sure. I just would a speakers series. I was saying the outdoor center does some events, like mushrooming and things like that, but would the stewardship fund cover to bring in speakers for like geology or, what did I say? Native American presence to, farming on the land at Catamount, would that be covered, or is that?
I guess it could be educational. I mean, would there be any merit in exploring, like, Laura Meyer or
Right,
someone from UVM? Because I'm assuming Tony D'Amato, when he did that forestry project in charge, sorry, when he did the forestry walk, in charge us.
No. Yeah.
With loads of professors.
Yeah, I mean, to some extent, Terry, what you're describing could be used as a fundraising opportunity to feed the stewardship fund. So if our committee initiates these and brings people there,
True.
then asks for donations and it goes into the stewardship fund. John, we're reading this policy on the stewardship fund, and it was not exactly clear, like there's donations, timber, and other random money that seems to come from somewhere, fills up the bucket, and we're talking about how to spend it. But Terry, that might be a good idea for us to.
Yeah. I was thinking
Yeah.
more of a free program, because I think people, when they see a dollar amount or donation, they're like, if it's
You
free.
can always put out the donation bucket. I don't know.
Yeah, you could, but I think it deters a few people that are like, that's my town forest, and why am I pay for going there? But I don't know. It just is a thought. Some people, I don't know, maybe I'm just thinking like Jane Dorney, and there's another woman, Sam, who does go. She does, she's a professional, and she does this as a business, and she does a lot of research, and she looks into the project, and then she prepares a talk and a walk. So they usually would get paid for their services, but UVM and state of Vermont employees, they usually do it for free. So
Yeah. No, that's a good idea to put on our list as we're brainstorming here. Appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, so John, to close on the trails discussion, Simon had trails on his brain a minute ago.
right.
I'm not curious what he was thinking, but I mean, we're doing the Outdoor Family Center is doing the trail planning, the master plan, the permits, all this stuff. I mean, at some point along the way, the fundraising then has to start, and the CCF committee could consider, the stewardship fund as a potential opportunity to fund some of that implementing the master trail plan project.
Here's what I was thinking actually, is that the planning part is something that we could use support for, and the building part, while we absolutely need support, it's a much higher volume of inputs that we need for the building, and likely to go to bigger funders for that. Whereas planning, this might actually work really well for that. If it's a quick, easy ask that we can then turn right into the helping get these permits done, I feel like that's maybe a better use of this than trying to get a small amount of money for a very large project. So I don't know how everybody else feels about it, but I was thinking of it that way.
So you're
go ahead, Terry.
So you guys, the outdoor center is currently working on like a master plan. So last night you had a input session, and you're going to have one more, and you're going to take that information and kind of put that towards your master plan.
Yep.
And you must be, when you finally get that developed, to submit that to the state, you'll have a dollar amount attached to that plan, right?
No.
Oh, okay. But you'll have the information.
What's that?
You'll have that information about what you are envisioning on doing, what trail improvements and things like that.
Correct. So the permit itself does not have a budget piece to it. It is what you plan to do, where, and how. And you know, part of the budget piece being separate is that when we get this permit, we're not going to be able to do everything all at once.
Sure.
This is a, you know, permit for the entire network. I imagine it will take 10 to 15 years at least to sort of fulfill what we're planning there. So the costs are going to change every year. So it doesn't necessarily make sense to plan out every cost when it's going to be 10 years before we get to a certain piece of it.
Oh, okay, yeah. So like just as an example, could take like to the improving the access to the lookout.
Yeah.
You could say, okay, you as the outdoor center would apply to the committee, you know, write up a proposal and say, okay, here, you know, whatever, you know, improve drainage. This is the project we're interested in. Here's all how it meets all these, you know, what am I looking for? The words, you know,
Criteria.
write up the proposal. This is why we feel it's a good idea. And then it would come to the committee. And
Yeah.
then we would, you know, approve, move it on to the select board. Is that right, Simon?
Yeah, so that's one option. I understood what John was saying to mean that as part of developing like any permit, you attract like consultants costs or survey costs or something like that. So you
Yeah,
know,
so
if
we-
we need,
Go ahead. Sorry.
well, like if they need, I don't know, like an extra archaeological survey or something like that, that attracts a cost for someone to do that work. And I thought that's why I thought John was saying that would be really helpful for them to help pay for that, or you know, whatever.
Okay. I don't know if as the committee might be more inclined to, you know, if there was a specific project, that's why I just pulled the lookout, you know, just as an idea, what that money would go towards.
So Terry, just to sort of give you an idea of the budgetary magnitudes of these different projects. So the permitting project is going to be in the, you know, under $10,000 range. So, you know, my time and the time of the experts who are going out and delineating the wetlands, the time that other staff is working on this, it should be under 10,000. We did a budget for Balsam's, Elbow, and Three Rivers to you know, upgrade them to where we had hoped to bring them as part of a VOREC grant, and that was 175,000. So
Oh,
those,
okay.
that's sort of the difference of, you know, like, yes, that's a very specific project, but you know, if we're coming to this committee for a few $1,000s, it seems to make more sense to have it have a real impact on something that, you know, is going to allow for all the other things. So that's where the planning part seems to make more sense rather than, you know, being sort of dropping in a much larger bucket.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Good. Okay. But yeah, I mean, that's the outdoor center can write up a proposal. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, you know, we may or not be successful. But
Right.
So we're brainstorming. I think that's a good thing to put on the list, like you know, funding to help create the trail master plan. You know, and it's similar to what we're just doing with Ethan, right?
Yeah.
So we sort of have Ethan. I always looked at him as like, well, Ethan, you're an expert, like, and then I've come to realize that, like, okay, well, maybe he's not the person to write up a full invasive multi plan. So now we're funding an expert to do that. And you know, I'm sure I don't want to insult John's expertise. Maybe he's like the best master trail planner creator ever. But to the extent that there's other experts, we might, you know,
Right.
engage similar to Ethan engaging an expert, you know, to come up with the best master trail plan.
Yeah, you have to be professionally qualified to wetlands delineation. So
Yeah, so there's like those archaeological, the wetlands, that'll be expensive, or not, they're expenses. But John, I don't know if the thought was also like just in terms of like somebody to help author the master trail plan and go through it, or maybe you're comfortable with doing that yourself.
I mean, I feel comfortable doing it myself. It's something I've done,
Okay.
you know, for you know, national forests, for state lands,
Okay.
and you know, for lands too. So, you know, I don't want to say that I'm the end all be all and that my word is best here. You know, that is part of why we're asking for so much feedback and trying to incorporate it. But I do have the skill set and experience to put that together.
Okay. Okay, well then, whatever trail planning help efforts, things, if you have those, kind of tee them up in your mind for us to put on the brainstorm list here. For future consideration, and then if you feel ready, you could bring them in. This, Simon suggested we batch these things to the select board, so we're not like
Well-
needing to go all the time, but you know.
Yeah, just,
we can go
I mean,
back
we
to
can
that.
figure out how to bundle them up.
Yeah,
It's more, I just didn't wanna like take, a proposal for $800
mhm.
individually, and then, 2 months later, take one for $1,000.
Got it.
If we know that there's stuff coming down the pipe, if you could just put them all together. In the same way that the state wanted everything master planned, trail wise.
So
Good.
somebody just mentioned, I don't know who it was, about the wetlands delineation thing. Is that, Simon, is that something that the state will do, or is that something that has to be hired out?
The state verify wetlands delineations, they don't do them. So someone like any permitting process, the person approving the permit doesn't do the work, they decide whether the work's okay or not.
Okay, yeah, because that's something that I know, we ran into this fall is about where the wetlands are. And it would be good to know, where's.
We have- Yeah, so we have to do this work in order to apply for these permits. So they will be delineated, and then this delineation will live for 5 years before it needs to be reviewed again. So, and I guess that's something to consider too, is that if the committee feels that it's important to know where the wetlands are, every 5 years, we have to review them in order to be accurate.
Yeah.
So that might be something that the stewardship fund actually is planned for.
Yeah, that would be, for my mowing thing, for the mowing the fields, I would really like to know where not to go, where are the boundaries from the ponds and
Yeah.
just on the land. Yeah.
Okay, so we've been brainstorming for a time and getting our heads wrapped around how to think about the stewardship fund. What other brainstorms are there? And then we'll think about wrapping up this agenda item here in a little.
Just to back to Terry's possibility of using trees, I found the link to the Winooski Valley Natural Resources tree sale, and I just emailed the link to everybody. So just
Oh,
as
thanks.
a document that would give us some idea of what potential costs might be if we should decide to do something like that. That's one source.
Good. We'll run that by Ethan and just see what he thinks. And but yeah, I think it would be a great, to give it a jump start. We're getting rid of so many buckthorn, honeysuckle, Japanese barberry. We, just had the forest management plan, which opened up a lot of areas. And so things are going to be growing.
Right.
And and that's part of, the $3,000. The first $3,000 that we took out is to manage those invasives that are going to be coming up.
I'm just thinking of here's my brainstorm, just thinking of this idea of planting things. Terry, I know you were interested in like pruning one of the apple trees up on the hill. And then I started to think about like blueberry bushes. And now I've got like this, oh, maybe we can have fruit trees. I don't know, I'm just brainstorming. If that's activity, I don't want to turn the place into a farm.
Right.
But if you had like, I go past Adams and they got blueberry bushes there, and I'm like, oh, it'd be nice to pick some blueberries.
Like Catamount blueberries.
And then there's like blackberries along, I don't want to plant blackberries, but along the Williston bike path near WCS, there's blackberries.
Right.
Like, and then at Catamount, I do pick apples and eat them, even if they're rather terrible. Some of them, but that might be fun to have like a fruit plant grove.
Yeah, you can, unfortunately, the deer also like them.
Yeah,
True.
So that's frustrating is that, you know, you have to protect them. But yeah, people and birds, wildlife and everything really do
Yeah.
like those blueberries and
Mhm.
that's a native shrub.
I
Blueberries.
mean, there's a way to deal with deer, but I'm not gonna mention it.
I know. Yeah, that's right.
with the deer, yeah, besides
deer.
10-foot fences. So,
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's
We
right.
can put them up, we maybe get the legislature, put them up in hotels, temporary hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
you know, what's interesting about that though, Hans, is that the town's energy plan has a section that's never really been acted on that says we should put in a town type forest which deals with fruit trees, berries, nuts, those kinds of things. And you would to potentially act on that type of project, you'd need some open land. And so there's a thought that you could coordinate the efforts between what is in the town's energy plan and what is in the
Huh.
in some of our forestry potential forestry projects.
Interesting.
So not a nursery, but
Well,
actually,
it's kind of some people envisioned a nursery, others envisioned more of a rustic environment. Nothing's ever been acted on since it's just one section out of 100 sections in the energy plan.
right.
Okay. All right, well, we're at time on this agenda item. We're a little over. Next is, oh, no, we're
I think
on
it's,
the invasive plant control stewardship fund request. Oh, so we need to look at that next, specifically ready to take
Yeah.
that. So we'll finish the brainstorming, which started at 5:40 or so, and we've taken our full allotted time, and now we're a little over.
so is Ethan
so-
coming tonight or no?
I've not heard from Ethan yet.
Okay.
It's Danielle. Um,
Great.
she's missed.
No, there she is.
Yeah.
So now we wanna look at the memo to the select board and approve it. Do we need to approve it?
That'll be ideal. I mean, if you want to talk to Ethan about it, it looks like we would have to postpone to the next meeting. But you heard from Ethan last time,
Yeah.
and it's all written down there, so unless anyone has any particular questions about it.
Could you bring it up and share it?
Yeah.
Could you enlarge that a little bit, please? Thanks.
Did you read the letter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, looking through it states the problem correctly, and it fits how we need to apply for these kinds of funds from the stewardship fund, process, at least in my mind.
And then we just got a short memo from the committee to the select board, which just recommends it. In a perfect world, I'd like to get this down so it's a bit shorter, but felt like we should probably just recap where we stand on it in terms of the expenditure. So I don't know if we just want to have a quick look at this.
Yeah, I think it covers, all the requirements of, asking for the funds. And we
I mean, you
definitely,
give them the context and explain to them the process that they're supposed to be following, so that seems
Yeah.
like it would grease the skids for them to get through it and approve it.
So do we need to take a vote on this? Do we need to approve?
Yes, please.
So I'll make a motion to approve the memo as drafted.
And
For the
I will second that.
All right, thank you, Reed. Now, all in favor, Danielle, you're now with us, you can vote too. If you like this memo for us to request the select board for $3,000 to create an invasive management plan that Ethan will be facilitating. All in favor, say aye.
I,
Aye. All right, all opposed, well, everybody said aye, so there can't be anybody opposed.
Good stuff. So you're making up time.
Now, we're up to John.
Okay.
See the update.
I think everybody's aware of the weather challenges that we've had this really, I mean, it's been since last winter almost, that, you know, last winter was moderately okay. And then, boy, right from, you know, right through the wet summer and into a kind of warm, wet winter. So we've had some reduced revenue from day and long-term memberships, from rentals and lessons. But camp sales have started, and some weeks are filling up already. So we're hopeful about that. We also have applied for more grants on top of the two VORAC grants that we talked about at the last meeting, and are pursuing further business sponsorships to help support all the work that we're doing. We have some extra emphasis on planning a building after a bit of an insurance scare this week with the McCullough. So we are, I know Hans is looking at me like, what's this?
Yeah.
It very quickly resolved. It was not anything that was ever you know, like we were getting kicked out, but they said this is a possibility now. We're you know, insurance is getting harder and harder to get for this building with you guys in it. So we have even more reason to continue to plan and work for a new building. So we're also continuing with our planning and permit work on the trails. We did have another public meeting on Tuesday, and this work that we're doing on the trails is vitally important to the long-term health of the organization too. If we had to talk about the two things that are going to allow us to succeed in the long term, it is our trails and the building. So those are the two things that we're most focused on at this point in terms of the long-term planning. And then that's mainly where we are right now, trying to roll through the winter and get ready for summer and spring with a bunch of events. And yeah, that's our quick recap. Any questions?
So how did the meeting, the public meeting go last night? We were at another meeting.
Yeah, no, it went well. We didn't have huge turnout, but every time we do it, we get better at explaining the process and learn new things about what people want to see. And there was some discussion last night about as we build features that might be very bike friendly, how do we make them walking friendly too? And essentially, really, how do we balance, you know, skiing, snowshoeing, biking, and walking? And we discussed the techniques for doing that, and ways to accommodate all uses as we upgrade and make changes to the trails. So it was a you know, good reminder to think about all of the uses and not necessarily, you know, one over another.
Great. Oh, it's good to get feedback from all the users. So that's great.
Yep.
And you have one more, right?
We do have one more in March. Yep. And we have an online survey and other ways folks can contribute, so they don't have to come to the meetings if they're not able to. And you know, we're trying to get folks to contribute as possible. And we've done some planning walks with the Trails Committee and our professional trail crew and some other folks too. So and those will continue into the spring and probably the summer this year too. So and we'll have broader invites as those come closer.
I was just gonna mention, I just took a quick ride over there yesterday and checked out just to see what it looked like. And is that sign brand new? Pretty nice, a big sign for the outdoor center.
Yeah, so we had some vandalism in the fall. And so we had to replace the sign, and so that was our new signage.
Oh,
We,
sorry, it was vandalism that got the new sign, but it looks
It
great.
was probably time, but yes, we do occasionally deal with vandalism. They're very literate vandals, and they spell well, which is not always the case. So
Ah, boy. So right
Oh,
now, the mountain bikers are still out there on the ice. They're still able to get out on the trails.
well, that brings
now.
up a good point that we really this year we've largely been fat biking more than anything, because it is the one activity that really works in all circumstances except for really wet and muddy. So you know, if it's frozen ground or thin snow, you can fat bike. So we've been, you know, and I expect that we will continue to have more fat biking and less skiing as the world warms. So it is a direction that we are very aware of.
The new normal.
Hopefully we get to ski a little longer.
Believe me, I love skiing, and I want nothing more than to do it. But I look out the door and I'm like,
I know.
it's
Tuesday,
great.
6 inches on Tuesday.
Yeah, we might get some.
Monday
That's
night,
nice.
When did you look last?
Tuesday.
What?
24
Last
hours
night.
ago, sorry.
It's back to 2 inches now.
Ah,
All right. Well, any other questions for John? John, thanks for the update. All right. Well, then, on our agenda were two other business, and there's no events to look at.
Not currently, no.
so I
And
do have one that I'll throw out there that I know last year I was going to try to keep this a yearly event, is the in May. I guess we landed on May 5th. The Green Mountain Audubon Society is going to have a bird walk. And it's from 8 to 10. So we looked at the date, and May 4th is Green Up Day. So we thought, wouldn't be good to detract from Green Up Day. So May 5th, I saw on the calendar, Andy has a volunteer workshop, but that's like 10 to noon or something. So this would be 8 to 10. So it would be not overlapping at all. So.
And so have we done the paperwork and everything for it, the COIs and all that?
No, not yet. No. So I'm just putting that out on the, that's a date that they're thinking of.
So this is a good time to practice our
So I guess it's like, how many people is it?
our threshold. Yeah.
Right. Sure, yeah.
So I think last time this was like 20-25 people.
Yeah.
They are going to advertise it publicly, so it does need to go to the committee. Is this the one where everyone just stood around at the entrance because there were so many birds?
No, that was the bird banding, and that will not happen on this walk. Mark Labar is not available. So this is just gathering at the hub at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then they pretty much just go out the Velco Road.
Right.
And go out just to the log landing and then turn around and come back. Really, and sometimes they go across the road to the pond, but really that's about as far as they get in 2 hours. Similar to what North Branch Nature Center did last year.
So now we have to decide so it meets our yeah, because it's being publicly advertised. We have to approve it from the committee. And then we said the COI covers. Is there blanket town COI or we have to do a COI?
We do one each time.
So the town has to do a COI for that to Catamount.
Is that an
And it's-
insurance policy?
It's what the
So-
license and the management plan say we have to do.
So now is this
if you-
great, Simon, since I, as a committee member, asked the Green Mountain Audubon Society to come, that it would be covered under the town's insurance, so they would provide the COI.
So I guess like, I don't know, does it clash with anything that, because I know Amanda's previously mentioned they don't put anything on their calendar until like it's actually confirmed. I mean, 8 AM doesn't sound like it would clash with anything to me, but
No, I mean, Andy's thing is fine. The day before is pretty busy with staff training and a couple other things, but May
Good.
5th is currently, I think, okay for that. But we'd like to get that on the calendar too, then we know not to do much more during that time slot.
And there probably would be, 20 people, that they, that's their max. They don't really, and it would probably be like, usually like 10 cars. So it would be pretty small impact on the parking lot.
John, do you feel comfortable enough looking at the Outdoor Family Center calendar to
Yeah,
approve that?
Yeah, we're fine on that. Just let's get it on the calendar and get the paperwork done
Yeah.
so that we're aware of it and don't schedule other stuff.
So then Simon, you put it on the spreadsheet
yeah, I'm just putting it on now so that.
and then we can
we've
mark it
got
as
on
approved.
Yeah,
And then,
This will be, so hoping that this is going to be a yearly, that the Audubon Society is going to do this yearly. So it's usually in the beginning of May. So it's usually, that's a. And Mark Labar was not available to do the banding, but I actually think it's a good thing to have them separately because it was a lot of people and they were torn, the people. So he was talking more like September. So.
And it's time sensitive, right? Because they're migrating through in May, the
Right.
birds, not the
And-
birders.
Exactly. So it's spring
birders
and
might
fall.
like
Yeah.
it too.
A lot of birders stop birding in the summer just because they're not, the birds aren't as active, they're not as singing as much. So
All right, good. So anything else?
yeah, I got something. I think probably a lot of people already know this, but this is my last Catamount meeting because I'm finishing up at the town at the end of March.
Oh,
What?
what?
yeah,
No, I
Yeah.
didn't.
I know. Well, you're far away.
So yeah, so it's been great working with you guys. My wife and I have
Motion to deny.
That's a good one, Danielle. Too bad,
Sorry, I
Simon.
interrupted you, Simon. What do you go? What's going on?
Yes, I hadn't heard.
well, my wife and I, the two dogs are just relocating back to the UK. So I'm planning on doing that in May. So we've got a vacation booked late March, and then just a few things to do before that.
I'm glad you're taking the children.
Those dogs, like this would be a piece of cake if it wasn't for those dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, they make it a challenge.
I didn't
Like
hear-
actual, I heard children and dogs. They're dogs.
I don't
aren't
have
they?
They're dogs, yeah.
I see.
I didn't hear where are you going?
To the UK.
Oh, okay. Congratulations. Well, you will be
Thank you.
missed.
You will be missed. Yep.
Thank you.
Carry you away with how we butcher the King's English?
I think technically, as I understand it, the way you guys speak is how people spoke in England back in like when the breakup happened. Like our accents changed.
What? Really?
Yours is more similar. I don't think it's the same, but it's more similar. That's what I heard. I don't know if that's true or not.
Fascinating.
And I was just getting used to your accent.
I've heard that too, Simon. It's
Yeah.
hard to imagine, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But like, you look at in British English, there are more continental, like French words and things like that than there are. You know, if you're 3,000 miles away by ship, it's difficult for things to come across. So it makes sense.
So, you'll be here with us for the March meeting?
No.
No,
No.
it's the end of February. March
my
1st
last-
is your last day,
Oh,
right?
I thought you said end of March.
He
No,
did
end
say
of
end of
March.
March, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, end of February. So this is your last meeting. Thank you for all you've done for
Yeah.
us. And then what do we do for our next meeting?
Well, I'll figure out the transition with Matt. He's looking for someone, so either,
Oh, did you work for Matt? I don't know if you work for Matt or Rick, or,
no, I work for Matt.
oh,
Yeah. I mean, the one thing I would ask is that,
or not Rick, Eric. I'm
just,
still on Rick. He's the old.
look, he hasn't been here for a while.
I know, but I just mix up the names.
I mean, do you guys have an idea what you want to talk about the next meeting? We did think about having a discussion about the results of the outdoor family centres consultation, but now I realise that the final event's only 2 days before our next meeting, so I don't know if we're gonna.
Oh, like the trail master
Yeah,
plan,
and just-
feedback, what the
Yeah.
progress update on that? I mean, I think John can just roll it into the
Yeah.
COFC update.
Okay.
That's a standing agenda item.
And does anyone wanna like have a go at drafting at least, you know, maybe some text for a project that they're interested in? You know,
From what we brainstormed today.
yeah, I don't know if.
I guess I would,
Yeah, planting trees might be one for Terry or Reed to
Yeah.
look at. Yeah,
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
Let's do that, so follow up from the stewardship fund brainstorming with a few. Things to put on paper, so as the committee feels so motivated. As volunteer committee, to put some time into writing a description of what the proposal is. We can
Yeah.
review those together.
okay.
Should they submit them to you, or how do we like get them on?
I think if you can draft some text,
Uh-huh,
in the next couple of weeks. And like send it over to me, I can just put it into a
okay,
sheet of paper. At least then there's something, you know, everyone can discuss it and modify it as necessary. The next meeting.
okay, yeah, and then.
so
I
you don't
have
think
any,
Melinda's gonna be stepping back in? She's probably.
No,
busy.
I am not gonna let her out of the
Ah!
energy role.
We're gonna have a tug of
She's
war with
also
it.
she's also on the new community housing role too,
Oh.
so.
Okay,
So
Well,
Melinda still does a lot of evening meetings, so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but like we said with Melinda, when you came and Melinda, we said that you were gonna have big shoes to fill. But I think the next person is gonna have some big shoes to fill too.
Yes. Mhm. Absolutely.
just, whatever you do, don't tell them about the COI process, or they won't wanna get hired.
Yeah,
well, I think I'm hoping we've simplified it now. After a lot of work,
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
I think it's much better.
yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm sort of ad hocing agenda items. Maybe let's prepare it for next time. So like we drafted the. Well, now I'm having second thoughts because we're gonna have a new person and you won't be here. We drafted the like, what is an event, what's not an event? From the town's point of view, like 25 people. It's not advertised, whatever, like we came up with those. Internally in the outdoor family center, we had some discussion about like, are those the same guidelines and rules the outdoor family center can use for like deciding what's an event or not? Or like, so I feel like there's a little bit more like crisping up a few of those questions there. I don't know, John, I don't wanna drive us into a ditch with the discussion. Would that be a helpful topic? To come
I
back
think
to
it would,
the,
yeah, just to, you know, to help explain where our challenges are with it and so that we're consistent across the board. with what we do. Like
Yeah.
You know what might be easy is like to create a flow chart, sort of like Emily did for how the town works. And just try to do like a little flow chart so it's easy to look at instead of having like to read through this complicated, words. I don't know if that would be helpful for everyone.
Yeah,
I see what you mean. You know, are you having an event? Do you want to have an event? Yes. How many people are coming? Go down this path, you
And
know,
it could split off.
Yeah.
otherwise go down another path.
Yeah. And what
I
it would
mean,
trigger, this would
our
trigger this.
the website itself actually has that pretty well done at this point. So if you went
Which website?
our catamount.outdoor.org website.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Uh,
Right, that's
So it
not,
lists the funnel and where people get sent to and what the process is. So it's actually, pretty much done.
oh,
well, we'll look at it and see what we think.
Yeah, and if you
See
can't,
if-
it's still hard to understand. We're happy to try to make it easier.
Right, yeah. So. Oh, Danielle, you're muted. Or you're eating. Oh, I thought you were talking. But basically things come to this committee. It comes to the committee. And then this is where it starts, right? The events start from outside the outdoor center.
yeah, and what we had clarified here before was if it's under 25 people, like, so if it's under 25 people, it's not being publicly advertised. And a bunch of other criteria we wrote down. Is that in an official document somewhere, or is that just in meeting notes?
No. So
It's
the
in
one
meeting.
thing, like, in the end, this is sort of not my problem. But I just caution you against, think very carefully about writing down another set of rules to follow.
Right.
Because I think we've got to where we are by working together as a committee using these guidelines.
Yeah,
Maybe that would be a good idea, maybe it wouldn't.
I see. There's gray area, it sounds like, and we're following the rules and there's interpretation. Gray areas that we're navigating in, right? Because if you had said the Audubon thing is not publicly advertised, it's less than 25 people, we would say, oh, you don't need to have that approved, just go. And
Actually,
it didn't
so
even-
Yeah.
can I back up? Can I back up a little bit? Okay, sorry, can I just back up a little bit?
Yeah.
Even though I've asked them to come, they're not gonna publicize it publicly. It's only publicized to the Green Mountain Audubon Society members. I don't know if it's,
Well, unless there's less than 25 members, not to be facetious, like, I think that's a ginormous membership. I would assume.
right, it's larger,
Yeah.
it's the state of
Yeah.
Vermont. It's not a
Yeah.
national, it's just the state of Vermont. And,
Yeah.
and Chittenden County area, actually.
But it's a call to general public and not like a contained group of friends or a contained
Yeah,
team or a
a contained
contained
group
Boy
of
Scouts
friends.
Right.
group.
It's where, I think the purpose behind that was so we can be reasonably confident
Yeah.
that if I say, we want to do a town event, it's gonna be 20 people, it's not gonna be advertised, I need to be confident that 50 people aren't gonna turn up, because
Yeah.
then we have a problem at the Outdoor Family Centre parking lot
Right,
and all that stuff. And that's why the public advertisement, it sort of made sense to me. It gives you that level of
Yeah.
control and a legitimate expectation that we're not going to exceed those limits.
Right.
and John, forgive me if I'm like bringing up too much, but like if a hypothetical, if somebody calls the Outdoor Family Center and says, hey, I wanna, I was thinking of bringing my kid's birthday party there. Oh, how many people? Oh, like 15, we only have 15 people for the party. Oh, well, what were you gonna do? Oh, well, we're just gonna go in the grassy area and play a few games and sit on a picnic table. Are we telling them like, oh, you're a group, you need to follow all this bureaucratic process, or does the Outdoor Family Center say, oh, that sounds really nice, you would just come here as a regular user of the forest and have a nice time? You know what I mean? Otherwise, it's like you have to do all this paperwork and get us insurance and you have to this and that and the other thing. So like using the rules that we had come up with that we haven't written down, I guess. For the 25 people or less not publicly advertised, it felt like, is that something the Outdoor Family Center could do? As well, I mean, they probably could, I don't think it would like hit anybody's radar.
So I mean, I guess that's a question for Eric.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
right. Roll that on to Eric. He's the town manager.
Then can I ask, like, if we had this, if that same hypothetical happened at a different Williston Park, do we have the same expectation? Or if the Audubon wanted to go walk at Mud Pond instead of Catamount?
It's a different forest
We
management.
don't have any
Yeah.
written policies or anything like that. If someone told me they wanted to hold a birthday party up at Suckerbrook, I'd ask them not to, because they'll fill up the parking lot, and then it'll affect everyone else. I had someone who told me they wanted to, do an event at Suckerbrook, and I told them no. I don't have the ability to manage that.
Yeah.
And maybe Todd does with the rec center, because he's full-time on rec and he has Alex working for him. So I'm not quite sure what their procedure is.
Right,
Yeah,
there
and
is a
at the same
procedure
time,
for using the parks. That I guess I'm wondering if this is a town question that we need to work on, or needs to be worked on, or is more specific because of the licensing with the Outdoor Family Center, or I don't.
think that-
I'm still wrapping my brain around the COI thing, as you know.
I mean, I think a general purpose policy for commercial or event use of our trails probably would be quite helpful. I'm not sure realistically that will ever rise up the priority list, because a lot of our trails, Five Tree Hill, you can fit five cars there, so
Yeah.
we're just not going to let you have an event there. Right.
Okay. Okay, so, I don't think that's an agenda item, but I thought it might have been. So any other agenda items for next week, Simon, before, we're done here and Simon says goodbye?
I know.
So our next meeting would be the 14th of March, correct?
Yeah.
I feel like this should have been on the agenda, Simon, and we then could have been all together and had cake or something. There's a missed opportunity to celebrate your work that you did here, and now we're just gonna have to say goodbye on the Zoom call, which is
Yeah.
weird.
I'll still be around for another 3 weeks, so
Right.
I'm sure I'll see at least some of you. Should be good.
Hop in.
You can come to the
Kate,
Conservation Commission meeting at 7 in the morning in 2 weeks.
That's what he wants, more committee meetings.
Yeah.
Just had my
Alright, well
parks
then-
check this morning.
Can we get a
I'll-
motion to convene?
Well,
Motion to
Yes, I'll make a
Daniel's
motion.
got it. Daniel is
adjourn?
first. Reed, you're a seconder. You want to
Yeah,
second it for us?
second. I'll
Nice.
second the motion to adjourn.
All
Sure.
right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, it's unanimous. You're adjourned.
Good luck to you,
Thanks,
Simon. I
everybody.
won't be back till March 1st.
Thanks, Reid. Appreciated all your work in the forest.
All right, take care.
We'll
See
see you.
ya.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye-bye.
Thank you all.